What's good, everybody? Welcome back to episode 2 of the Step Back. I'm your host, Robert Aguirre, and alongside me, as always, we got Matt Choden and Marlyn Taylor. What's good with you two today?
What's up, man? Another busy day. Actually, it wasn't that busy. I took a 2-hour nap, but I had a lot of potential plans for today.
No, I was running around from when I woke up to basically right now. I woke up because we got my house getting some renovations done. So those dudes came in at the crack of dawn, and then I had to go to Crown Point and break down some stuff and back to practice, and then back to practice, and then practice just ended. So here I am.
You got the most renovated house in heaven.
It's always getting renovated.
Facts. Always something going on.
But yeah, today I was kind of busy today too, man. Today was mine and Lily's anniversary, so we went downtown. We went to that Van Gogh. Thank you. We went to that Van Gogh thing. It was actually pretty cool, but it was really short. Like
you said, it was hella immersive.
It was hella immersive. Like I was in the painting. I ain't even gonna lie. But it was solid. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it was just short. Like I thought it was gonna be a lot longer.
What'd you eat? You know that's what I care about. What'd you eat?
Yeah, take a guess. I think you're gonna like what I have to say.
Seafood?
Nah, it wasn't seafood. I'll give you one guess. We don't want to spend too much time on this, but
Mexican?
it was in Chicago. It was in Chicago.
Racabonese?
No, you're close though. We had Connie's.
Oh.
We had Connie's pizza.
Swear to God.
Swear to God, we had Connie's.
That's a week. Let's look. You got a week. Oh, but you went to Little Italy, right?
We went to Little Italy yesterday, so we had Connie's. We wanted pizza.
Oh, okay. You care more about the immersion than the food today?
All right. But no, I had a Connie's sausage pizza with some pepperoni.
That was one of my fantasy team names a few years ago.
Oh my God.
I'm not gonna be talking as much about fantasy this week. I lost for the first time.
I mean, it was solid though, so it was a cool day. Went to that Van Gogh thing. If you want to go, you should check it out. I mean, if you're into art, like if you're not into art, don't go. I'll be honest, just don't. But speaking of Chicago, it was a good time down there, and it was a good, solid. I don't know how long he was there, but Joakim Noah finally retired. No, I'd say he's a Bulls legend for everything he did for the city, especially in that year when D Rose was hurt, finishing third in MVP voting, all defensive player, all NBA defensive player of the year, 2-time All-Star. Joakim Noah finally hangs it up. What you think, Choder?
I mean, I'm happy he retired as a Bull. It felt weird the last couple of years that he wasn't in Chicago. Mm-hmm. I liked him in Memphis, though. I ain't gonna lie. Memphis was dope. But I'm pretty sure he's in Chicago about 8 years. Yep, 8 years. It's just a fact check here real quick. But no, I mean, big time fan of Joakim Noah. He's a good dude. I think that was well deserved, and I'm just happy that he's retired and now just enjoying life.
Yeah. And shout out to Joakim Noah. He was I think you could say he's a Bulls legend. But one thing is I don't think he really gets the full recognition he deserves because his game was hideous. He kind of had but you think about it, he kind of had a Jokic type game. He was better defensively than Jokic because wasn't he did he win a defensive player of the year?
And in the season he finished third at MVP, won defensive player of the year.
He was an all-star, maybe an all-star starter, but he had a really good season. But he was known as the best big passer in the league. He wasn't really a scorer like that, and we all know he had the worst form of all time. But I mean, he was a solid player. He would bring the ball up the court sometimes. He was a pretty mobile big, and I think that kind of was a little bit before his time because you see that a lot more now.
Mm-hmm. The crazy part is we recognize him as a great passer, but for his career he averaged less than 3 assists per game.
Yeah, but that season he averaged
six,
5 or 6. That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot for a defensive. I mean, for a center.
Yeah, shout out to him, man. He was his biggest moment in Chicago. It was his rookie or his second year when he stole that ball against the Celtics in the playoffs, dunked it on Paul Pierce, forced Game 7. I remember watching that game like it was yesterday. In those moments, you just erupt out of your seat. I wasn't at the game. I'm saying I just erupted in my house. I couldn't believe it. I swore I jumped super high. I didn't get on the ground, but
he's one of those players
screaming.
too. He's one of those players that like you really appreciate on the team. Even though he did prove himself to be kind of a star, just like a dirty work star, but like he's one of those players that you need to win, like a Marcus Smart or
a Rodman,
like just one of those gritty. Yeah, Rodman.
Yes. Shout out to Joe.
Yeah, shout out to him.
Shout out to Joakim. I wonder if I don't think they'll retire his number, but it's something that could definitely be talked about for what he did for Chicago.
Definitely.
But going into some more NBA news from today, the Hawks fired their coach Lloyd Pierce after about 2.5 seasons. I know this season they've been battling some injuries, but it's not really a surprise because this team has been such a huge disappointment this year. Even without the injuries, I honestly thought they were going to make the playoffs last year. I thought for sure they were going to be in contention this year. They're still not in. And Nate McMillan actually replaced him as the interim coach. And I thought McMillan should have had a job heading into the season, but he wanted to take the season off. But I thought this was a matter of time with how bad they were playing.
It's something that hadn't really crossed my mind, but I mean, it does make sense. They are underperforming, but I think they could have gave him a little slack. How long has he been there?
2.5 years.
I think they could have gave him a little slack. Oh, okay. Because like they've had serious injuries, like Gallinari misses games. Like even like every main player they've had has played this season, but like they're never all in together. Like because they have a good roster. I just think it's hard to like try to find a synergy when everybody's out. It's like whack-a-mole. Like there's always a player missing. Rondo misses games.
Chris Dunn still hasn't played.
Oh yeah, and Bogdanovich is supposed to be like one of their best players. He hasn't played in a while. DeAndre Hunter on my fantasy team, he's out. He's been out for a while, and he's one of their top defensive players. I mean, and I know their bases are like Trae Young and John Collins, but I think they've done okay for what they got. But I'm glad that Nate McMillan is getting the chance. I think he is a good coach, and I think he can turn the team around. The only thing is, as an interim coach, it's weird trying to like get a new culture going mid-season. So I think it's a tough task for him. But I think if they let him stay for a while, he can figure it out by next season, I think.
I was just gonna kind of go off that. I mean, they just had injuries all year, and he's been there 3 years. And he was like, I think this is like his first like head coaching gig, and he came in as an assistant from, I want to say it was Philly. And he seemed like that kind of coach that you bring in when you were rebuilding, like at the start of your rebuild. Yeah. Like this was only a matter of time whether they were, like winning or not. And this year they definitely should have been winning, but injuries happen, and it is what it is. And another thing that I think kind of went unnoticed is like John Collins. There's been like some turmoil supposedly in the reports that John Collins like wants out. Him and Trae Young don't get along. And so that kind of stuff adds up. And then that kind of reflects like the coach should have figured that out. Like, if that was like a real problem when you're two stars or like, just fighting with each other, like there's got to be some control in that locker room. So yeah, I wasn't shocked. I mean, they haven't been winning. They're not winning this year. I mean, how many years are you going to give this kid here or this coach? But no shock there. And Nate McMillan, I think that's a good hire. I'm excited about that to see what he does. I felt like he did a pretty good job at Indiana, besides like the playoffs or whatever. But I felt like he helped like bring the Pacers back after losing Paul George. So I think he'll do good in Atlanta for sure.
Definitely. I think it's also great. You're bringing in a veteran coach, like you said, with everything on the Pacers. So you're bringing in a veteran coach with an insanely young team. I think the Hawks are the youngest team in the league. If they're not, they've got to be really close. But also bringing in McMillan, he's someone who's going to be able to really help the young guys grow. And it's also great to see another minority coach get hired in the NBA as well. It's all the players love to see it. NBA PA and other coaches, they want it more as well. So it's great to see him. And McMillan, he deserved a job anyways. He wanted to sit the season out. He was going to come back next year. So it's great to see him just jump back in now. In the meantime, get a head start with them. Hopefully he's the interim coach, so hopefully they extend him for next year. And then next year they could get the jump because, I mean, as of right now, they're going to get a high pick. So that's one thing they definitely need. You don't know what's going to happen with Collins. Honestly, they should flip Collins, try to get some picks or get a solid young player. And then I mean, you're already deep at the guard. You're already deep at the forward position. I mean, like the wing position. Excuse me. You don't know what's gonna happen with Capella, but there's that one boy Evan Mobley over there at
Forgot about
USC.
Capella.
I honestly think that Evan Mobley be real nice with Trae Young. But speaking of coaches, you're going from I want to say the worst of the worst. You're going from a coach at the bottom of the tier who just got fired. You also had Ryan Saunders who just got fired. A lot of coaches
Also,
struggling.
quick point: when is Scott Brooks gonna get fired?
I don't think
I
he
don't know.
can. At this point, I don't think he can. Isn't he the general manager too, though?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I mean,
I
it
thought
would
he
make
was the
more
general
sense
manager.
if he was, but fire him.
Yeah, he's just not.
I don't understand how Lloyd Pierce can get fired, but
Yeah,
Scott Brooks is.
yeah, I don't know. And he's got a better team.
Yeah,
I
they
know
are picking it up
injuries
now.
have hit him, but you have better players. Is where I'm going at. You have Westbrook and Beal. Something's got to
Their
go.
system just isn't good
No.
anyway. Like they're just not well coached. You can tell.
It's rough. It's got to eventually. Maybe they're waiting for the end of the year. I don't know. All-Star break, something. But Scott Brooks got to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're going from the bottom coaches, but there's some coaches that are killing it this year. Some of their teams, man. I got two guys in the running right now for Coach of the Year because this is the midseason award show here at the Step Back. So we're gonna start it out with Marlyn. Who you got as your Coach of the Year?
I think this one's easy. I do have honorable mentions, but I don't think it's like really close right now.
Mhm.
And I think it's by far Quinn Snyder. He's been a good coach, but you have guys like Budenholzer and Frank Vogel and stuff. You got guys who like are number one seeds, and they always have a good team. But now Utah is picking it up, and I think you can contribute this specifically to Quinn Snyder and the rest of his coaching staff because their roster barely changed, if at all. And they're playing like their improvements are coming because of system changes. They're shooting a bunch of threes. They have a lot of guys who can actually make threes. And I guess he just realized like Utah's not going to pick up any big free agents. That's the reason they signed Rudy Gobert to such a big contract because you got to keep all the good pieces you can while you have them. I mean, you got Donovan Mitchell, but all of their success is just coming off of system changes and just doing something extreme to try and put your team over the top. And it's working out really well for them right now. They started out 4-4, and what are they going like a 23-4 run now?
Yeah, I think they've won 20 out of their last 23 games. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. What you got, Choder?
Yeah. Oh, my bad. Real quick, I did have some honorable mentions. My bad. Doc Rivers and Ty Lue too. I think Ty Lue's doing really well. The Clippers had a solid season last year, but I think they're actually playing together a lot better now, and they're doing even better than they were last year. They actually have a system. It's not just two talented guys checking up shots. And then shout out to Doc Rivers too.
I got Quinn Snyder as well. I mean, I'm not even gonna go into it as much. I mean, first seed in the West. He's been a good coach. And they're finally figuring it out, and he's got them, playing well. They move the ball well, and I think he's just like a good leader to have for that group. So I mean, and with that, you can't argue with the record. So he's definitely like my front runner. But I actually have an honorable mention. I don't want to say runner up. Well, maybe runner up for me, but obviously there's the other top coaches like Frank Vogel and Doc Rivers and stuff. But one guy I'd like to mention is Tom Thibodeau because he's got the Knicks. I despise the Knicks. Like I hate that. Shout
out Max though.
Yeah. Like I'm not big on the Knicks. So you got to do something real good for me to shout out the Knicks. And just shout out Tibbs, man. Last year they ended the season, even though it was COVID or whatever, at 21 and 45. And they were just big old, everyone's laughing at them because they were supposed to have this, they were supposed to get KD and Kyrie, but it's dude, just that franchise is looked at as a joke for the last couple of years, but it shouldn't be because it's in the, the greatest city, one of the greatest cities of all time. But this year, I mean, they don't have a great record, but they're sitting at 4th in the East, and that's insane.
And they're over 500 now.
Yeah, over 500.
Still got to chill on those minutes though.
Yeah, he does. But he's got Julius Randle playing well. He's everyone last year was bashing Julius Randle because they thought he was a bad player. He's come in and made Julius Randle an all-star. RJ Barrett. Everyone thought he's a bust. He's having a great year. You bring in Derrick Rose, and they just look like they're having fun and they're just playing really good basketball. So shout out to Tibbs.
Yeah, I like
that's
that
more
one.
Of a shout out than a actual coach of the year candidate, but shout out to him. He's done.
I would also like to give he's not on my list, but for what he's been able to do this year, shout out to Billy Donovan.
Oh,
yep. For my Chicago Bulls, Billy Donovan this year. Same exact roster as last year, same exact one, and we're actually competing in every single game. Just shows how much of a bum Jim Boylan was. He turned Zach into an all-star. I mean, you got
Mr.
the young Paw in Pat Williams. And you see how our defense is so much more improved as well when Wendell's out there. Even though we can't stop big men yet, it's kind of hard when you have a 6'8" big man trying to guard Joel Embiid.
Yeah,
I'll give him that. It's a little hard. But shout out Billy Donovan. I really love what he's doing with our boys up in Chicago. And it's a clean sweep. I have Quinn Snyder too. There's really no discussion right now unless the Jazz fall off a cliff. But I don't see it happening. But my runner-up that I have right now, someone you guys haven't mentioned yet, which is a little surprising to me, but Monty Williams.
I think I know where you're going.
Monty Williams.
Oh, no, I'm still.
Monty
There's
Williams.
Actually some. I feel like Coach of the Year always has a lot of competition.
Yeah, and what Monty Williams has been doing with the Suns this year, man, they're sitting 4th in the West right now, 22-11 record, is absolutely killing it. Bringing in Chris Paul was absolutely huge for this team. I mean, it's a completely different. The whole atmosphere, everything. So Monty Williams, he's killing it in Phoenix. But yeah, it's a clean sweep. Quinn Snyder. Yeah, you like that? But
also
Snyder.
Another honorable mention, Steve Nash. I forgot about him too, especially with that run that the Nets just went on. And they haven't played that many games together, all three of them, but they win with any combination. So yeah, shout out to Steve Nash. He's doing pretty good. I think that's a lot of Mike D'Antoni too.
Definitely. And Steve Nash chills a lot on the sideline, but D'Antoni's killing. But next we'll go. We got our surprises at coaches, and a big reason some players, coaches help a lot, especially with some rookies. Some rookies, they need the really good coaches to get where they got to be. So we're gonna go with our rookie of the year, and we're gonna start this one over with Marlyn. Marlyn, who you got as your rookie of the year?
I feel like this is a queen. You got me saying it too. Clean sweep as well, because I think it's a clear LaMelo, and not even the hype thing, because I mean, he is a pretty exciting player, but it's mostly the storyline of it. But as far as just results on the court, like, he's actually contributing to a solid team. Like, I thought that the Hornets was going to be like the worst team in the league.
Buns.
And yeah, and there's a lot of teams that are actually doing like a lot better than you would expect. Like, you got like you said, the Bulls, the Knicks, and then the Hornets. And Melo is a big piece of that. And I like how you see his progression throughout the year. Like, it's like been kind of slow, but it's also been steady, and it hasn't been there hasn't been a big like inconsistency. It's been a consistent performance. Like, he's averaging 15, 6, and 6, which are really good numbers for a guy who's a veteran. But for a rookie, that's really good. And the part that I like about him that I was unsure about is he's actually making really good decisions, and he's shooting pretty efficiently too. So I think it's LaMelo. But honorable mention is Tyreese Halliburton. I didn't know too much about him, but I know Stephen A wanted him to go to the Knicks, and I think that would have been a really good pickup for the Knicks. But he just playing really well, like kind of almost like LaMelo. Like, he just fits a role really well. He's a 6-man. I think he's like a shooting guard or a small forward, but
he plays like the point and shooting guard. He's like a 6'5" shooting guard.
Okay. But yeah, he's a I really like players like that kind of just fit into their role and do exactly what they're supposed to do. Yeah. And that's really good coming from a guy that's a young player, because that's something you kind of expect from like an older veteran guy. So I think he has a good career ahead of him. And shout out to LaMelo too.
Chowdy?
Yeah, I mean, I got LaMelo too. Basically for the same reasons, but just a couple key points I think I've looked at. Outside of the numbers, I'll get to the numbers in a second, but like, Charlotte is just like everyone's tuning in to like watch that team. Like, even though they're sitting at an 8 spot, there's people are like, Charlotte's a problem, and like, they have good young players. Like, they just needed someone to kind of push them, and I think LaMelo is like, he's definitely come in with like this, like, according to like everyone in the league, LaMelo has like this like positive energy around him, and like which is surprising to me because I followed the Ball family, and he always seemed like he was never really like kind of locked in. He was always like they always called it like a Kardashian vibe, but but I could see it like in things that I've watched. Like he's just like he's just excited. He's just excited to be there, and he's making the right play. He's the first guy you see hyping up Malik Monk yesterday after a game winner. Like that kind of stuff. Like it goes a long way. Like everyone, like people are gonna want to play with that kid, you know. But I mean, yeah, his numbers. He was averaging 14, 6, and 6 on the season. But like since he got inserted into the starting lineup, he's sitting at 20. He's sitting at 20.6 assists, 6 rebounds. Like that's crazy. Like, as a rookie,
he jumped.
Like so. And obviously, like the media votes for that, and like the media is all about LaMelo Ball. But my second, who I have runner up, is Tyrese Halliburton as well. He's kind of he averages like almost the same numbers, but he doesn't have the ball as much, so they're a little bit lower. And I'm surprised of like how well he fits in Sacramento, to be honest. Because like when they picked him, I was like, that's a great pick, like at 12 or 13 or whatever it was. But like
12,
they have De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield and like guys that like already have the ball in their hands. I'm like, how is that going to work? But I mean, he's come in and like Marlyn said, he plays his role. And he's also like he seems like a kid who's just excited to be there no matter what his role is right now. And shout out to both of them for making it work because they didn't really have a preseason. Usually that's where rookies kind of get their footing, and like both of them have kind of just used the season and just taken what they can, you know.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to throw in too was what you said about LaMelo Ball. You know, he's coming in with the attitude and you know of a leader, and the players around him really embraced it. But one thing I really think helped him was actually playing professionally. So he has a veteran mindset as a 19-year-old, which is crazy because a lot of players don't have that. A lot of them, they're kids when they come in. He's still a kid, but he's played with grown men already. So he knows that. And he also has his brother Lonzo, who's in the league. So he's probably talked to him. He's mentored him. You know, he's going to listen to him. He's his older brother.
He's been playing against older guys since he was young too.
Yeah, he played he played when he was like in fourth grade, playing with like Lonzo, in travel. So it's crazy how everything worked in that way. And I wanted to go one more thing about how you were saying, because I have LaMelo as my rookie of the year. It's a clean sweep. But yeah, shout out Halliburton. This one's not really a discussion. But one thing, you know, everyone's tuning into Hornets games, and it's not just because of the players, because of those announcers, bro. Those announcers are amazing. Like I don't know.
Like I've heard some stuff, but I can't remember.
When I love it when Miles Bridges dunks the ball. Because he's like Miles Bridges, and it's like relax, bro. Like they're nuts. I want them to announce the All-Star game. I really want them to do the All-Star game. I think it'd be amazing because this dude screams. I don't know how he has a voice after the games.
Look that up.
But I really like LaMelo. He's proved a lot of people wrong. A lot of people thought he was gonna be a bust, especially because of his shooting. And one thing a lot of people always talked about, he couldn't shoot free throws. He's shooting 80% from the free throw line this year.
And he gets to the line.
He's really, really good. He's shooting 35% from three. You want to see that improve? But for a rookie, that's solid. That's really solid. And he's actually one of 8 rookies ever to average 10, 5, 5, and a steal and a half in the first 30 games of the season. So he's doing historical things. Yeah. And he's only going to build up from here. The sky's the limit for this dude. I mean, when you're a 6'8" point guard, I mean, you're going to kill it.
And not just, he has a handle too. Really good handle.
Yeah. And I just want to give one more shout out. He's not going to win Rookie of the Year. But shout out Anthony Edwards for the dunk of the season.
Yeah.
I never seen something so violent.
That dude's a beast.
Yeah. So next we'll go. I'm afraid that this one might be a clean sweep too.
One more
go ahead.
Statement. Just one quick statement on the rookies. I just wanted to bring up how good of a point that was that Taylor made about the preseason. I didn't really think about that, but this is a really rough time to be a rookie. They didn't have their draft was super late. They didn't really have summer league. They didn't have preseason, and with COVID, I'm sure practice was probably not as consistent as it should have been. So that makes it even more impressive that LaMelo and Tyreese Halliburton are playing so well with their team, and the way they're playing is really in tune with their team. So it's actually more impressive that they're doing that. So,
and it's actually harder too, not even on a basketball aspect, but just on the aspect of learning your teammates as well.
Yeah.
that's one thing that it's because you got to build the chemistry. You can't play on the court with people you don't know. So that's one thing I really like. So good job, Choder. Good job. I like that a
What
lot.
can I say? I
Go
come
ahead.
in with the takes.
But yeah, I'm afraid that this one might be a clean sweep too. Honestly, if it's not a clean sweep, I'll damn near be a little disappointed. But we're just gonna go six man of the year.
I didn't even see that on the docket.
I feel like either way.
I don't think you put it in, but
we'll let Chota start with this one.
I really didn't think about that. I gotta think. I'm sure I'll probably.
You'll probably guess the same exact guy we're about to say because if Chota doesn't say who I think.
Before you say anybody, let me think real quick.
All right, you thought. All right, go ahead, Chota.
Go ahead. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's Jordan Clarkson. So like I don't know, like best team in the West. He's coming off the bench averaging 18, 3, and 2. And his plus minus it isn't crazy, but it's like plus minus like 5 coming off the bench, which is like he's doing like he's not just going in like just chucking up shots like a microwave. He's coming in and like just making plays. Like and I haven't caught too many Utah games, so I'm not gonna like sit here and act like I know all the stats. But from everything I've seen, he's kind of running away with it. But an honorable mention I had, and this is kind of biased being a Bulls fan, but Thaddeus Young,
Thaddeus Johnson.
He does great things.
6 man.
Yeah, dude, he comes in and makes plays. I don't know if you're tuning in, but he's not Jordan Clarkson, but he's not Jordan Clarkson, but
96
definitely someone to look at.
Fourth quarter Thad is a real thing. He turns something on in that fourth quarter, and I mean, it's catching on. I don't know if you saw, but on Basketball Reference, he has a nickname of Thaddeus Johnson now. Shout out to Stacey King for putting that on.
I like Stacey, but he kind of that's chill. You gotta chill.
It's because you haven't been watching. There was like a 4-game stretch where he had like at least 9 or 10 assists in each game. Like he was just killing it.
I didn't even know.
But like as you said, Jordan Clarkson, he's my guy. He's having a career year, best record in the league, immediate offense. And I heard Marlyn slightly say it while he was looking at his stats. But he's shooting 96% from the free throw line.
It's crazy.
Like, I mean, that's like one missed free throw this whole year. But one thing I don't like about Jordan Clarkson, I don't like the way he wears his socks. It's nasty.
Well, how does he wear them? Is
way
it just
too
like
high.
tube socks that are LI?
They're way too. Remember how Robin Lopez wore his socks?
Oh, he wears his socks like that?
Yeah.
Robin Lopez looks hella goofy. Like he's trying to hide ash. Like, bro, just moisturize and put on some Nike Elite socks.
And the thing is, he had like the ones with the lines on the back, but they were like this. You're supposed to keep your Elites like this. Robins were like this.
Follow the yellow brick road outside.
That was lame. So I'm guessing you got Jordan Clarkson too.
Yeah, I don't really got much to say.
Yeah,
I'm looking through the teams. I tried to go to ESPN and I went to IMDb. I tweaked, but
ain't no movies.
I was gonna type Jordan Clarkson and see where his movie credits is.
That'd be crazy if he was in a movie too.
But yeah, I can't. I'm not looking at rosters. I'm just looking at teams, and I can't really.
There's really no one. I mean, you could have. Yeah. There's no one. Really?
Yeah, like he's actually like a standout. Like he's almost playing like 18 points a game for a bench player is really good. So.
He's playing like Jamal Crawford when he was on the Clippers.
Yeah.
Just immediate offense off the bench. Yeah. They got to name the
Montrez is doing pretty good for the Lakers.
He's doing okay. His numbers aren't as good as last year though. I was looking at him, but I just feel like Jordan Clarkson
it's Jordan Clarkson.
Even if you look at like the Vegas betting right now, it's insane how much it's in favor of Jordan Clarkson. But yeah, clean sweep. That one's not really discussion. I think these three right here, this is where it's gonna be. We'll be able to have some real discussions here. So you guys want to go? There's 3 more awards.
Oh yeah. Okay.
All right, you want to go? You want to go DPOY or MIP?
We can go MIP.
I think we go.
I was gonna say most improved.
Yeah, we'll go most improved. All right. So most improved. I got 2 guys. I'm gonna start with.
I got I got 2 and 1 honorable mention.
Okay. I'll start. I'll go with my runner-up. My runner-up, it's killing it this year.
Like
Honestly,
the same as mine.
I brought it up. I knew he was going to be like an all-star snub. He wasn't going to make it because his team sucks. But he's having a career season. I mean, career, averaging 23, 5 and 3, shooting splits of 43, 36, and 88. It's got no help.
Well, say that again. What was his shooting splits?
43, 36, and 89. Career year, he's got no help. And one thing I actually looked at from last year to this year, he's improved 11 points, 2 rebounds, 13% from the free throw line, and 2 more assists. And that man is Jeremy Grant of the Detroit Pistons. He's my runner-up. Honestly, when I used to watch him when he was back in Philly, OKC, I was like, man, this dude's going to be a real good role player. I don't know if you remember, Choder. I told you I kind of wanted the Bulls to sign him this offseason.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't think he was going to get that much money. But he got a bag, 60-something million. He's deserved every single penny.
Yeah.
That man is killing it this year. So Jeremy Grant's my runner-up for most improved. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up winning the thing.
Yeah. Did you want to give your?
No, we could all give our runner-up.
Go around. Okay. Well, my runner-up is probably going to be your winner, but I'll let you get to that. He's a guy that's on my fantasy team, as you know, and he's a really good pickup for me this year. But the reason I have him as my runner-up is because I expected him to be good because it's Julius Randle, and even though he's averaging 22, 11, and 6, those are really good numbers, but they're not that much of an improvement from last year. He was still averaging about 19 and 10, something like that. And I think really the allure of wanting to put him as most improved is because of the improvement of the Knicks. And also, Julius Randle is a really good defensive player, just to note. But I think that he's doing really well, but I don't think his improvement is nearly as high as someone like a Jeremy Grant. I think it's just working better because the Knicks in total are playing together better as a team.
Yeah, I agree. The system changed.
So he's my runner-up, and I wanted to give honorable mention to Christian Wood. I think he would have been the most improved, but he's had that injury. Yeah. And I told you the other day, like, honestly, he's damn near the MVP of the league. We just didn't know it because he left, and the Rockets haven't won a game since.
He's so good.
Yeah, like, is he AD now? But I guess we just really didn't realize how good he was, or at least how valuable he was.
Yeah.
So yeah, my runner-up is Julius Randle, but I think that's the most important honorable mention of the day is Christian Wood because he probably would have had it in the bag.
Yeah.
If he didn't get hurt.
Go ahead, Choder.
So I got 3 guys. I don't really have a number 1. I'd say based off the improvement, I'd like Christian Wood would take it like with ease because he went from averaging last year like 13 and 6 to now like 23 and 10.
Yeah.
And like Marlyn just made a great point. The Rockets have not won. Like he went into Houston and like took on like that star role, even though they had like that drama with Harden and whatever. Like they
were still winning a few games every time.
Do you remember opening night? He put up 36 opening night.
The dude is different, and I
wasn't too surprised either.
No, not at all. He's
because like even different. On the Pistons.
Yeah. So I mean, I was surprised the Pistons didn't bring him back, but they ended up bringing in the guy that's probably gonna win it because he's been playing, and that's Jeremy Grant. Mm-hmm. He went from averaging, and he, like you said, he bet on himself. He got a bag. He went from being a role player on a great team in Denver to now being, probably the best player this year on a really horrible team. But who knows? Maybe next year he builds off that confidence and they go and get a top pick and actually make some noise. But I think the winner will be Jeremy Grant, given that he's been playing and he's been the main option in his first year in Detroit. Christian Wood, I think, will get that runner-up. Unless he comes back and starts killing it again, then I think he takes that one. But another guy that's
games left in the season.
Yeah. And another guy that probably is definitely not in this conversation, but it has improved. Is definitely Boucher in Toronto.
Yeah.
Because they
Don't
lost a lot
say
of
it.
pieces.
Aw.
Because they lost they lost so many
Here
people.
we go.
Like they lost Marcus Saul, Serge Ibaka, like obviously Kawhi left, like whatever to LA, and like he's stepped up. He's not averaging crazy numbers, but he's definitely like he went from like a G League standout to now he's like
he has
main
some
player in
games
Toronto.
too.
Yeah, like,
Where it's just you need to relax. You're playing too good. They're gonna expect this of you now.
Another
Yeah.
hideous form. He shoots like he's mad, like he's like hella sassy.
He shoots like Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, he shoots out like Jalen Ramsey.
How Jalen? He's like, stop. Jalen Ramsey, super sassy. Hey Marlon, I think you're you're back.
My bad. You guys. Yeah. Your internet connection is unstable. You're unstable.
But my winner, you guys
all
both
good?
said
Can
it.
you hear me? Testing.
Yeah. We're good. My winner that I have, Christian Wood. Christian Wood. He's averaged, 23 and 10, shooting splits of 55, 42. His free throw percentage ain't that high. I'm not gonna lie. It's at 68.
Quick question.
Go ahead.
Is there do you know when he's expected to return?
After the All-Star break.
Oh, okay. I thought he had a more serious injury, so I just assumed he wasn't playing for the rest of the season. So
No, it was just a really bad ankle sprain. But he's been out like a month now. So they said he should be back after All-Star break.
He could be.
So what I had, like you guys both said it, the injury is probably going to cost him in the end. But if he comes back and plays the way he was playing, I mean, dude was probably going to be an All-Star with his numbers. I mean, I voted for him as an All-Star. Doesn't really matter. He wasn't going to make it in that vote anyways. But I think the coaches were definitely going to give him some looks as like one of the last guys off the bench. But like you said, like last year, he's up 9 points per game, 4 rebounds, and his 3-point percentage went up 4%. It's just Christian was just built different. And honestly, like you said, the Pistons replaced him with Jeremy Grant. It's not a bad replacement when you got two guys that are going to be the most improved player this year, just different styles of play. And we got a good glance of Jeremy Grant when he killed the Bulls when we ended up winning the game, but went off for 40-something in the game, and he couldn't miss a shot. So
the dude's different.
And the Rockets actually just lost their 12th straight game. So Christian Wood for most improved. Marlon, did you say your winner yet?
Straight. No, I didn't say my winner yet. I had Jeremy Grant. I didn't include Christian Wood. That's why I gave him an honorable mention. I think he just missed too many games so far. Like, I think he can still catch up. I think there's enough games left in the season. But also, I still think Jeremy Grant, he's my winner. I think his numbers are too good, and I think he's playing too many more games to not win most improved. But I do think if the Rockets actually improve a lot more when Christian Wood comes back, and even though Jeremy Grant has been playing every game, they have a horrible record. So I think if Christian Wood comes back and he actually affects winning more so than just improvement in stats, I think he can win most improved. But I got Jeremy Grant for now.
What if he comes back and they win 12 in a row? Hella match.
Then MVP. That's never. They'll be in the playoffs at that point, I think.
He's killing it though.
Do you guys have? I'm the only one who mentioned Julius Randle. Do you guys have him in your top or no?
Go ahead, Jordan.
No, I mean I didn't have him in a most improved because I felt like his numbers were kind of similar. I mean, maybe you can correct me, but I just felt like
they were.
That
was my reason for not putting him number one.
He's just in a better system. I think you probably mentioned that. So it's just like, I mean, he's great. So, but it's not a bad pick at all.
That's my exact reasoning. It's just the system. Tibbs actually, believing in him and letting him play his game. He's playing ball like he's back at Kentucky. He's doing the exact same thing he was doing at Kentucky. So
he's back at Duke.
Stop.
You remember that?
I don't want to talk about
it. You just mowed. Oh god.
We'll just go over the defensive player of the year now. I feel like I think this one's a good debate. I really think that defensive player of the year is a good debate. I don't think
I
it's
think
gonna
it
be.
is too.
I don't think it's gonna be a runaway guy because I have one guy.
I think it might be a clean sweep, but I think we'll have a good
I actually have two
debate
guys
about it.
tied for the top spot. I couldn't choose between the two. I have one runner up. I'll let Marlyn start it out. But I really think that this one's gonna be a good one.
You said you had 3 guys?
I have 3 guys
tied and 1 runner up.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know who the runner up is, unless I have it wrong again. But
you want me to start then?
I'll go because I think my runner up is part of your 2, and my runner up is Ben Simmons.
Oh no, I didn't have him.
You didn't mention Ben Simmons?
I didn't.
That's crazy.
You better not have Lou Dort above Ben Simmons. But anyway.
Lou Dort.
What?
But anyway, I want Ben Simmons to win it because he's a less ugly player than Gobert, who I have as the winner. But shout out to Gobert. Like you mentioned last week.
Is this our weekly Gobert diss?
No, I just do that to appease you guys. But I don't mind Gobert. I think like you said, he is an all-star because of the defense, kinda. And like they have one of the best defensive teams in the league, and he's the foundation of that. So like he's the ultimate rim protector. He gets paid $220 million to protect the rim, and he does it well. So I got him as a defensive player of the year because it's kind of like when Steph won MVP. The Warriors were the best offense ever because of him. Like,
yeah,
it wasn't just that he's a great talent. He's a great system. Like he's a system builder. You can build a system around him. I think Rudy Gobert is kind of similar in the sense of like defensively, you can actually build around him. But yeah, I have Simmons second. I think it's close though. I think it's really close. Simmons has had some amazing one-on-one performances. Like he locked down Luka pretty much. He locked down somebody else earlier in the season. I can't remember who it is. I think it might have been Bill. But like he has those games where like he goes against a really good player, and it's usually a wing player, and he actually kind of shuts him down. So I think he's the more like I would rather he win because I think it sets a good tone of like bringing back perimeter defense, but bringing back pride in perimeter defense. But I think for now, Gobert might be in first place.
Yeah.
All right. So what's funny is this may seem like I'm dissing him because I made it pretty clear that I did not like him. So I'm going with my defense player of the year winner, even though he probably won't win, but I'm going to say this is who I want to win and I think should win, because I think this award should go to wing players now, because I feel like wing players get disrespected sometimes as far as the defense goes. But Ben Simmons, I think, should win it. The dude, I mean, he passes the eye test. I mean, his defense numbers don't pop out. I try to do some extensive research to put him over Ben Simmons today, or to put him over Rudy Gobert. And I couldn't find him. But there are some numbers that stick out as far as his deflections. He leads the league in them at 3.9, just getting in the passing lanes and just getting on loose balls at 1.5 a game. But yeah, like I feel like this year it's shown, especially with their record. He uses his size to his advantage on these smaller guards that he's guarding. And I think just his ability, like he could switch anything, like with his agility and his length and his strength. Like the dude he's
even bigs.
What?
I said, yeah, he can switch on bigs too.
Yeah, I didn't hear what he said either.
And another thing, watching some of his like some film on it, he just glass cleaning off the glass, just bing, just block here. The dude, he's a shot blocker as a point guard. Like, well, technically, whatever, he's bigger, whatever you want to call it. But pause. But yeah, I got Ben Simmons winning. I mean, I don't care enough about Rudy Gobert to look it up. I'm sorry to the people that are watching, but like he's my runner-up, I guess.
I guess
that's my hate speech.
Man, you hate the Stifle Tower.
God.
So I'll go with my runner-up. I have Joel Embiid. This season, averaging a block and a half, almost a steal and a half per game. He's already an all defensive player, and his block percentage is actually 3.6 per 100 possessions. So he's killing it this year. He's the anchor of a fantastic. I mean, the fact that you have him down low and Ben Simmons on the outside, it's ridiculous defensively. They finally figured out Doc Rivers has been able to help out a lot with that defense in Philly as well. I have Embiid. Actually had Simmons right behind Embiid. And my two guys that I have tied for first, I could not go between the two of them. First one, I'll say the obvious, Rudy Gobert. Almost 3 blocks per game, 2.7 to be exact. Best team in the league. Best defense in the league. His block percentage is 7.2, and his defensive rating is actually minus 7.6. So when he's off the floor, it's just they score a lot more points. The other teams, nobody wants to go down low when they see Rudy Gobert. I mean, I wouldn't either. Is just I don't like I want to say you guys hate him. Choder hates Rudy Gobert. I don't mind Rudy Gobert. I think Rudy Gobert is someone you could definitely have on a winning team. He's just not worth $220 million. Sorry. You don't pay that to a specialist. You pay that to a superstar. But my other guy I have tied is Miles Turner. Miles Turner is killing it this year defensively. He's averaging 3.5 blocks per game.
Yeah.
Which is insane. And I think a big reason he doesn't get discussed is the fact that he's on an underrated team with no national pub. No one cares about the Pacers. We're from Indiana. We hear about the Pacers. People in Utah don't hear about the Pacers.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty much irrelevant. He's averaging. He has a 9.4% block percentage. Do you know how high that is? It's insane.
It's weird though because he averages less than 7 rebounds a game. It's like, what are you doing down there? Just blocking shots.
That's it. But I think, and then if you look at this too, he's actually I don't want
the rebound. I don't even want to block it.
Sabonis, you get it. You get the rebound.
Sabonis averages hella rebound.
But so, Miles Turner this year.
The ball.
Just let me swat it.
Look, get away from me. Move.
He's hella allergic to the ball. But he's actually had 94 blocks this season. There's only been like 30 games.
That's hella blocks.
He's just blocking.
Did he have like a double-digit block game? I know he had like at least 8.
It was 8. That's his career high is 8.
8 blocks a game.
That's what he was averaging on the season. Shout out Paul George.
Shout out Sonny.
It's all right. It's all right. Shout out Sonny.
I just want to clarify something. Rudy Gobert, it's not like a personal thing. It just really bothers me that he has like 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards, and Anthony Davis doesn't have any. And I agree with that. That just doesn't sit right with me. That bothers me.
He should have won it last year.
Yeah, but it bothers me. So that's where the hate started. But sorry.
But I'm not mad at whoever wins this award. What?
Well, what'd you say about Anthony Davis?
He should have won a Defensive Player of the Year. Over Giannis? Over Gobert. Even over Giannis, too.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at that. I like Giannis, though.
Me too.
You just don't like
I like Giannis.
He can't shoot. I'm just
do everything else.
We'll get in. That's what Gobert tells people. He's like, I play defense.
Do something else.
That's it.
He's a more glorified Miles Turner, for being honest. But here we are to the end of the night. The MVP award everyone was here to see. I have actually 5 people. 3 people tied for third.
Yeah. That's funny. But yeah, this is actually a tough debate, I think. Because
it is.
It's at a point where there's been people losing, So
Yeah, there's one guy I didn't put in this top 5, and I think you guys are gonna be surprised. So
I think I don't know.
do you want me
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
do you want me to start with my 3 guys I have tied?
Yeah, I think that's a good baseline.
Okay.
Just to see where we're
The
at.
first guy I'm gonna say is Steph Curry. Averaging 35 and 6, 47, 41, and 93. You know, he's put himself back up. After last year, everyone was like, did Dame take it? No, Steph's still the best point guard in the league. Dame's right there behind him. He's above 500 with not that much help, if we're being honest, in Golden State. Draymond's killing it. James Wiseman's been hurt, but Steph has been Steph. He's proven everybody wrong, and nobody really cares. All-Star, All-NBA. It's his comeback season. And actually in February, he was averaging 33 points per game, nearly 34, which is insane. February.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I feel like he slowed down in February.
He probably did. Probably January, probably averaged 35.
Everyone got used to it.
Yeah, that's what it is with Steph. You know, everyone's like, he did this, he did this. And I'll own up. I did that before. I did do that. I didn't like Steph made me really mad last year because I drafted him in fantasy and decided he sat out the whole year. But we won't have to get into fantasy because that's all Marlyn does. My second guy I have tied for third is Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell leading the best team in the NBA. You know, we already mentioned Gobert. We already mentioned Quinn. So I'm going to throw Donovan in there. 24 and a half, 5 and 5, 42, 38, and 82. They've won 20 out of their last 23 games. It's the best defense in the NBA. All-star. But the big question mark that I have here, are they going to do this in the second half? And are the Jazz really true contenders? We don't know. Something happens in the playoffs. Something always has to happen. But I have Donovan Mitchell making my top 5. And right there, also tied for third, I have Damien Lillard. But he's like the top of those 3 guys that are tied right now. 29, 4 and 8 on 44, 38, and 93. It's the 6th best record in the West. And the big thing that has me sold on him that's higher than the other 2, he hasn't had McCollum or Nurkic this year, which has been insane that they're still competing.
McCollum's on my fantasy team. He started off averaging like more than Dame too. So,
but the big thing that I did notice, so I said Dame is averaging 29. Which is right up there, almost at nearly his career high. Last year was his career high at like 30. They're 14 and 4 when he scores 30 plus points, and they're very under 500 when he doesn't score. And he's right at 29 on the season, so he has to score 30 for them to win because there's really nobody else there. I mean, shout out Melo, shout out Robert Covington, and shout out Gary Trent, but he has to score 30 points for them to really compete. And it's showing how good he is that they're still competing. Those are my 3 guys that I have tied for third place.
I'll go. So I didn't like too intensive into the MVP because I have a top 2 and it's like the obvious top 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna. I mean, I'll give some honorable mentions just off the dome that I've thought about. You've already said one. Steph. I knew if he came in healthy, like he was. They don't like those pieces around him aren't bad. They're just some of them are young, some of them haven't figured out the system. But yeah, his numbers, he's been going crazy. 30 points, like I said, he's best point guard in the NBA. Sorry, David Lillard, but so that's Steph. But Steph's a mention for me. Another guy that isn't going to get talked about like at all because of like the talent that's on his team. But no, I think he's still getting pretty much talked about, even though he's new to the team. Is James Harden? Like James Harden has came into Brooklyn and just hooped like some of the numbers I've seen him put on, from the jump, and that's part of it. Mike D'Antoni being there, KD kind of being out for most of the time that James has been there, and Kyrie like kind of screwing his head on straight. It seems like, and letting them hoop and letting them win, sitting at second in the East. Like if James Harden was on Brooklyn from the beginning of the year, I think he's like top 2. Like behind the 2 obvious MVP candidates. But you said a couple of good ones. Donovan Mitchell, because of like where Utah is, he should be in the conversation, but he definitely won't win it, and that sucks. I think if KD was healthy, he could have been a top candidate for MVP because he was hooping as well. But I won't mention my top 2. Let's see who else. And I'm just going to shout out a quick bias. If the Bulls were sitting at a top 3 seed, Zach leads to that top MVP spot.
You're not wrong.
Not
You're not
wrong.
wrong.
They're not.
But no. But yeah, so I got Steph, Harden, and Donovan Mitchell are some of the guys that are in the conversation for MVP. And Nikola Jokic. I feel like he doesn't get enough love. But
That was one guy I left
Sure.
out of there. That was one guy I left out.
27
that
and
was
10.
one of the surprises.
Easy.
Yeah, he was top 2 earlier, like in January.
Yeah,
Yep.
they just
So,
been
what do you
struggling.
want me to? You want me to just give some guys who I don't have in my top 2, but I have like.
I think we all have the
mentions
same
kinda?
top 2. I think we all have the exact same.
I don't think we do.
Really.
I don't think we do because I don't think we do.
All right. Well, here, just
So-
like, how many do you have?
I only have 2 guys that I put.
Well, yeah, just go ahead and give like a couple people you think should get some love, but you think aren't going to win, and then we'll just get into that.
I think I should just give my guys.
Just give your second guy.
Because,
Give your second guy.
So my second guy, who I have as my honorable mention, because it's been a really close race. Because all the guys you named are like really close in, like it's really a toss-up. Like Dame and Steph, they have similar records, but Steph's numbers are a little bit better. But their team is both similarly not that great, but they both have above 500 records in the tough Western Conference. Those are like 2 really close players. So it's like, who do you go with from there? And then you got Jokic, you guys both left out of your bottom 3. And he might be above Dame and Steph. His numbers are crazy. He has the second highest PR in the league. So it's a really tough like race. But I think over this past month, the guy who comes to mind, and I think he was kind of like a dark horse. You guys talked about him a little bit, but I got James Harden second, and I think he's really close to being MVP, like the actual MVP right now. So I have him second because when he was playing the Mavericks the other day, this was coming off of an 8-game winning streak. He had like 25 and 6 in the first half, and one of the stats that popped up on the screen was that he's actually averaging the most points scored and assisted in the entire league. He's leading the league in assists, and he came to Brooklyn without any practices and won a game and dropped a triple-double. And like those numbers have been pretty consistent since he's been there. And had come off an 8-game winning streak where they played really good teams. They played the Lakers, they beat the Clippers twice. And one of the games that I think the Clippers were at full strength. So and when you look at the team, he's like the centerpiece. He's the one making all the decisions. His usage rate has dropped dramatically, but he's still leading the league in the most points scored and assisted. So I think with that, I think he kind of surpassed all the other guys that we talked about because the Nets have gone on a crazy run and now they're second in the East. And I think that has a lot to do with him because he's the only one that's actually played every game since he's been there.
Which is crazy to think about.
Well, I mean, he missed one game, but yeah.
It's crazy to think about.
But when you think about it, he's been reliable throughout his career. Like,
I'm saying conditioning wise. Like it's crazy to think he's actually played almost every single game.
I think he missed one game where Kyrie was the only one playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like so and they've gotten better. Like even KD has missed a lot of games, but they still were winning. Like most of the games in that win streak were without him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you look at the team, he's the one making the move. Like he's the one bringing the ball up the court. He's the point guard. He's a facilitator, and they're just really using Kyrie as a weapon. So I just think I think that if he keeps on this pace, he'll be the MVP. And then my MVP is. Did you have a point?
I haven't gone with my second yet. I
thought you wanted me to just give both of mine.
I just wanted to follow you up on James Harden.
Go ahead.
Before you made your next point. I think why that team is working so well, and this you guys can argue with me that maybe this is a little bit off, but James Harden has a lot of experience being like the one-man show and like making the place for his team. And like he's no one-man show in Brooklyn. Like that's not what I'm saying at all. It's just like he's so used to having like just coming in and just like being the the system, getting guys involved, scoring, getting buckets himself. And like if you look at like Kyrie and KD's like career, obviously KD was the man in OKC his first, whatever, 8 to 10 years. But like him playing in Golden State and like Kyrie playing with LeBron and Kevin Love and then playing in Boston where he had to share the ball, I think it helps that like you have a guy that can run the show, but like these guys also have experience where they have played on super teams. So I think that's why it works. It's just like they've all seen it all. So now it's at this point, they just want to win. So it's just like, so shout out to them for just figuring it out. But good candidate for sure. Good stuff.
Hey, go ahead and give your second, Choder. Do you have like a top two?
Yeah, I mean, I got Joel Embiid's my winner. I mean, it's pretty obvious. He's averaging 20. He's averaging like basically 30 and 11.
It's funny
which is like crazy. Yet. 1 second. And I was getting a phone call. Averaging 30 and 11. And they're best team in the East. Defensive anchor, and like he is very valuable to Philadelphia. Like obviously, like his first couple years coming in the league, he's just like had it. He led the Sixers to the playoffs and things like that. Obviously, Ben Simmons helped, but what was I going to say? I had a point. I just lost it. No, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. I think Joel Embiid should win it, especially because like obviously Braun is putting up the same number, like the same type of numbers, and doing what he always does. But I think the media will look at Embiid and maybe give him the nod to win MVP. So that's who I got.
I have Embiid winning it. With what he's done this year is absolutely insane. I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up actually getting MVP and Defensive Player of the Year with how well he's been playing. You said 30, 11, 3, 52, 42, and 85 on his shooting splits. They've won 4 out of the last 5. Best record in the East. I had LeBron, but with this run Embiid's been on, he jumped him. I have LeBron as my runner-up for this year. I think a big reason, too, I also had Embiid jumping LeBron was because of this rough patch that he's gone through without Anthony Davis. That's where it ended up hurting LeBron in my rankings. They still have the second best record in the West. I had to throw it out there. He's 36 years old. Still crazy. He's averaging 25, 8, and 8 on 50, 35, and 69.5 on his shooting splits. Still all NBA. The greatest of all time. It's just insane what he's still doing. But with this struggling rough patch he had without Anthony Davis, I have him beat as my MVP as of right now in my midseason awards.
I'm with you. Yeah, I have Joel Embiid as my MVP too, and I think some of the points you brought up about LeBron is the reason that I even had Harden passing him, is because as Harden was going on this 8-game win streak, LeBron was going on a 4-game losing streak, and I know it's rough, but like that's part of the MVP races. It's so close that it's really a game by game basis. And 25, 8, and 8 are good numbers, but he went through a bad slump in shooting in this past month, and I think that I think I might have him like 3rd or 4th, but I don't think his numbers are good enough, and I don't think the Lakers have been performing well enough to have him top 2 right now.
I honestly think
I do still think he's the best player in the league, though. But
I think what could end up hurting Bron is once Davis comes back, if they go on a win streak, it could end up hurting him in the second half because of Davis coming back and them winning.
Yeah.
But
I think KD coming back might affect Harden too.
That's why I think Embiid's going to run away with it.
Embiid, yeah.
But honestly, it's a good debate for right now. Because we're definitely going to revisit this at the end of the season before they actually announce the awards. We'll keep track of who we all had winning. We were all pretty similar, once we got the Defensive Player of the Year, and I mean we still had like the same guys, but like we had the debate for each one being a little bit different, especially like MVP. I think this is a really close MVP race is where I'm just getting at.
Yeah.
Especially with Giannis.
7 guys.
Especially with Giannis falling out.
Yeah, Giannis too. I forgot about him.
But he's like, he's not even in like the top 5 really because of that. How much
I think he passed up like Steph and Dame though. I just forgot.
I don't think yet. Not yet.
I think he has.
I think, but what big
thing? The last like 4 games he's had.
But I'm saying that a big thing with Milwaukee, they've been struggling is obviously because they haven't had Holiday. He's been hurt.
Yeah.
He's just.
I'm saying they just won like the last 4 or 5, and he's averaging like 36 and 12 or something like that.
Yeah, but I don't know. They've just been like a disappointment this year, especially where they've been the last 2
overall.
But yeah, it's definitely gonna be close, and I'm really excited for the second half of the season. Honestly, with everything going on, especially I'm excited for this next weekend coming up. We finally got All-Star break, so I'm thinking next episode we'll be able to just come through, talk about what happened on All-Star weekend, and give some predictions for the second half of the season. I'm honestly excited too to see what's going to end up happening with some of these other guys. These teams that are like barely competing for these playoff spots. Like you said, you got the Bulls, you got Toronto, the Heat, Knicks. They're all like, it's from the 4 seed to like the 10 seed in the East. It's a game apart. It's gonna be a fun run in the second half of the season.
Definitely.
So we'll definitely revisit all this. You guys got any closing words for the step back this week?
Yeah, you can go first.
Just want to say Milwaukee has been on a little bit of a hot streak before we start bashing them. They've won 5 in a row.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Just wanted to bring that up. But no, I want people that are tuning in, just keep coming. There's going to be more exciting stuff on the way. Yeah, and we're figuring this out. We're new to this podcast stuff, man, but I think week 2 has definitely been a big old improvement, especially with time and our points and things like that. And just keep on coming, man. Just keep on coming.
I got to talk a little less.
Hopefully we got a set coming soon. Hopefully that set's coming soon in that show to chill. Yeah, go ahead, Marlon.
I just wanted to say, not to bring the mood down, but rest in peace to my Uncle Pichon. He passed away yesterday. I know you met him at my graduation party that one time. But, like, even then, he had a really good positive energy, so I don't want it to be negative or anything because he was always positive and had good vibes. So, yeah, rest in peace. Uncle Pichon, I love you.
RIP, man.
Rest in peace.
Thanks, all you guys, for tuning in to this episode of The Step Back. For Matt Choder, Marlon Taylor, I'm Robert Geary. Don't forget, check us out every Tuesday on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere you can check us. You'll find us. Instagram, Twitter, _StepBackPod. We'd love to have a follow. Super active. Fun facts of the NBA every single day. Like, subscribe, everything you got to do. Appreciate you guys for checking out. Check y'all next week.